JB, is a great day for us personally. We have noticed that we have not just hit 300 likes on Facebook, but we've also hit 50,000 views on our videos this year, or this season. This has been an incredible season for us so far, and we have some even better news. Our friends at DelVal and the IT department have really helped us today to get an interview together with one of our favorite defensive players from DelVal. Just watching him throughout this season, what's not to like overall. But one thing before we get to that, some folks have asked me the question, and I thought I would give them the answer right now about where my ballot ended this regular season, the D3Football.com ballot. And here it is, and you'll notice that this Delaware Valley team had really caught my interest by the end of the season at number 4. In fact, the committees too, because if you look at it, they technically were the committee's number 4. The top 4 seeds are there, and they're going to face a team coming in that I had at number 8 in the season. So you can see this is going to be a very good game coming up. Why don't you introduce the player and let's talk to him a little bit about the game.
Well, sure thing. Well, he's one of the best linebackers in all of Division III. He gets it done both in tackles, but he can also put up points. He scored 20 points as a defensive player this season, which I don't know where it is in the record books, Frank, but it's got to be one of the tops in the nation. So we'd like to welcome from DelVal, one of their senior linebackers, Nick Wright. Welcome to In the Huddle.
Thank you. Good to have me here.
Nick, we do appreciate you. Yep, absolutely. I just wanted to jump in real quick and ask you, Nick, go way back here. I mean, week 1, I remember, what was it, like a 70-yard like fumble recovery return for a touchdown against Wesley. Yep, the scoop and score, a game where I think you were responsible for 8 points right there. Did you guys see this type of season forming when you had that game go your way? I mean, obviously Wesley was a force to be reckoned with this season, just looking at what they did after that game especially. But did you see this as being a 12-0 quarterfinal type season at week 1?
We knew we had something special with the guys we had playing, and especially because how well we had during camp. So we knew we had something special, but we never really saw ourselves going this far. So it's great to have my final season going this far, and I'm excited to see where it ends.
Well, it's not going to be over with at least for a few more days, and hopefully a little bit longer. We were talking to Matt Levy, your sports information director, and the guys in the mid-aughts, as we call them, had played in 47 or 48 games. So, you played in 46 games as of this Saturday. So for you to tie the record, you would need to get to the Stag Bowl, essentially. So I'm sure you're hoping it doesn't end too soon here.
Yeah, no, that's the goal. The Stag Bowl is always the goal when it comes to playoffs. So I'm excited to see where it ends.
Nick, you guys have played a couple of New England teams so far in the playoffs. We had Western New England, the Golden Bears, Anthony Service and company, and then most recently John Smith and the Husson Eagles. Typically, you're playing against teams from Pennsylvania in the MAC and maybe occasional Wesley from Delaware. What was your takeaways from those teams from up north?
They were good teams. We had our last game against John Smith. We really keyed him, and we saw some of the things on film where it was able to give us an edge of what plays they were going to run. So we really keyed on him. And early on, I felt like we stopped what they were going to try to do the whole game. So they tried to pass more. And that's when we were able to pick the quarterback off and essentially give our offense more time to score points.
Frank likes to give me a hard time about being a stats guy, and one of the things that jumped out at me is the fact that you guys have made 25 interceptions in 12 games. It's basically more than 2 interceptions a game. You have, I think, 4 yourself, a couple of which I think you returned for scores as well. I mean, what is it about this ball hawk defense? You guys really know how to get to the ball.
I think it's just the guys we have on the team, the coaches, their ability to draw up something every week, and the guys be able to get it and not only do what the coaches ask of us, but do the little things extra. Not, oh, we have this gap, we only have this gap. If it's a run play outside, we have our gap and then we extend the gap over. So it's just the guys and the coaches' ability to react and develop throughout the years how our defense is where we're at right now.
Nick, I'm sure you guys have watched a lot of tape on Brockport coming up here. You're hosting them, obviously, on Saturday. They are a very good team. There's no doubt about that from what we've watched. Joe Germinario and company have a well-oiled offense. Their defense may be just as good as yours. We'll find out, I guess, on Saturday just how true that may or may not be. But at the end of the day, how does this team, let's say, first measure up against Wesley from what you can at least tell on tape? And tell us some stuff that maybe we can't see from, we're not avid film viewers like your team might be, but tell us something that jumps out at you about this Brockport team that we may see come out this coming weekend.
Well, it starts with their O-line. Their O-line looks great on film. Their quarterback is very versatile. He can run the ball. He can pass the ball. He has some key guys, a freshman wide receiver, number 7, I believe. He's fast. A couple of their wide receivers are just unbelievably with speed. So we have a lot of things to go over this week to make sure that things go our way on Saturday for sure.
Well, and Brockport definitely does like to mix it up between the 20 and 10 personnel and their pro style set. Now, Nick, you, from what I've seen, you're a pretty versatile guy. You can go in, you can rush. You've had your share of tackles for loss. I think you're 3rd on the team as far as that goes, but you're also able to go back and play some coverage. Are you getting a sense that this game, depending on how it goes, you could be in coverage more, or is it just going to sort of see how Brockport comes out? I mean, they do have this Justin Morrison kid. If he's healthy, he can run the ball well. How do you prepare for a game when you might be asked to do lots of different things?
Every week we prepare like it's the same type of game. We don't know really what's going to happen during the game, but we kind of see what their big plays are last week, and we kind of prepare through that. We don't really know if they're going to run the ball more or pass the ball more. We have about, I think, 3 or 4 games on them right now, and they're pretty balanced. So we're just going through the week as we'll practice 1 week passing, and we'll practice one day their run play. So it's kind of guess and choose of what's going to come out on Saturday, and we'll see on Saturday what comes out.
Nick, I do my share of research here. That may surprise James a little bit, literally, but I don't come completely fresh into these things. But I was talking to our good friend Gordon Mann, who has been a stalwart at broadcasting for your team through the years, and he tells me that you, and I could just tell from the level of what you're talking about with these film watching, the teams and everything else, you are a 3.7 student, according to Gordon, and regardless of what happens this weekend, what's next for you? You're a senior, and it seems like you've got some bright pastures ahead with that kind of academic performance. So what is next for the Nick Wright story?
Well, right now it's unwritten. I'm really focused on football and where my career can go here. But other than that, I've internships lined up. So I'm just excited to the next chapter after football. I'm ready to hit that road right now.
Okay, one more thing he said to me. I'm cheating a little bit because I've got my notes right here from Gordon. He said, ask Nick about music. The team loves to dance. Seriously. So I'm asking you about music. He didn't get any more specific than that. So tell me about this little dancing infatuation going on at DelVal.
All right.
Well, we're just having a great season. A lot of the guys are just having some fun. So during the game, we have a couple songs that we picked out that we really like. So when those songs come on, we get really excited on the field, and some of the guys just start dancing. And then it just happened that every week more guys join in. So it's just a fun atmosphere to be here at DelVal.
I promise that Saturday when I show up for the game, I will not be dancing along. You do not want that. The insurance policy is not big enough at DelVal to cover my hips if I break one trying to dance. Go ahead, JB.
All right, Nick, we're gonna take this party down a notch a little bit. So this is a chance for you to tell the critics to go take a flying leap. So what do you say to the people out there that might be saying that the Aggies are a good team? They've won all their games, but they haven't had a close game since probably week 1. I mean, most games you guys have won this season have been by a margin of 20 to sometimes 40 plus points. You guys have been beating people pretty soundly. A lot of that's because your defense is so good. So what do you do when you hear people say, oh, well, they're not really that tested? How do you feel about those kind of comments, Nick?
Well, at the end of the day, the they put pads on just like us. We put pads on. They got players. We got players. So it's really not in our minds of what everyone else is saying. So we know how we are. Brockport knows how they are. So it's just going to be showing up on Saturday. Whoever wants it more is going to win.
Nick, what's the alumni response been to this team? Because it seems like this was kind of not necessarily build-up. We talked to Sean about that earlier in the season. You guys have been there all along. Even in the years that were kind of off by DelVal standards, you guys still were posting the wins, no doubt. But obviously this season is a little bit more special than the last couple and where things have gone. What has the alumni response been, the campus response? How does it feel with them backing you right now?
The alumni is great here at DelVal. We have a couple guys that were on the 12-0 teams. I believe that we had 2 seasons where we were 12-0. So a lot of those guys are coming back saying, "Are you guys better than us? Are you guys better than us?" So this game will really show what team is really better per se for the alumni to come back and try to talk to us about that. So it's kind of fun to see the atmosphere here at DelVal, and everyone's getting in on it. The Caps getting in on it, giving us some good food, just getting us prepared for the games and everything. So everything here has just been fun atmosphere to be around and be a part of DelVal football right now.
Well, it hasn't been since those 2004, 5, and 6 teams that there's been an East Region team that has cracked into the Final Four. This is a huge opportunity for both programs. I think the RPI team of 2003 was the last one to do it. So, I mean, I imagine it's just focused on this one, but any other thoughts about the, kind of going into the game this weekend as far as Final Four is concerned, or is it's got to be about Brockport first?
Right. Well, every game we prepare like this is the game where we never look ahead. And I believe that's exactly what has gotten us this far at this point, that we never really look ahead of the schedule, that we always just keep our eyes forward, and one game at a time is basically our motto here.
Okay, it's time. You're a senior. We may not be able to get you back on, before at least football career is over for you. So here's the question for you. Do you have any shout-outs for friends, family, fans, anybody out there that might be watching, listening, etc.? Nick Wright, the floor is yours as you prepare for a huge quarterfinal game, home versus Brockport.
I'd just like to take a shout-out to all the coaches at DelVal that gave their time away from their family, away from holidays. We had Thanksgiving the other day. They were here with us preparing. So I'd like to just take one shout out for all the coaches that take time out of their lives and they're away from their family just to make sure that we reach our goals that we have for this season.
That's a very common refrain we're hearing from the playoff teams throughout the country right now, that, with the holidays the way they are, families are always like, well, are we going to get to spend more time with you now? And the answer is no, but it's for a greater good at the end of the day, obviously. And you hope that this one takes you all the way to, let's say, Christmas time. I'm at Starbucks right now. We had some Christmas carols on. When I hear Christmas carols, because the last decade I've spent in Salem, right around that time, it just takes me back to Salem, Virginia. And I hope that an East Region team gets to enjoy it with me this one final time in Salem. And why not DelVal? And why not Brockport too, for that matter, or Frostburg? One of these 3 teams could very well be there. And we wish you luck on the adventure of trying to get there at this point, Nick. And thanks for your time.
Thank you. I appreciate it, guys.
JB, as we keep warning people, we've got lightning predictions coming up later in the week, but we've covered all 3 teams this week that are in the playoffs still, going to the quarterfinals. So people want to stay tuned for the remaining coverage we have this week. And then some special stuff on Saturday, as I will be traveling to the DelVal Brockport game. So we'll update you through our social media on that.